my loves? It's your girl Diamond. And I'm back with my own review of Married to Medicine. Alright, let's get into it. So the couples are getting ready for dinner like it was revealed the last episode. Angel gets a phone call from her man friend Bernard that he is on his way to Jamaica. She extended the invitation right when the news of the couple's trip was happening, and she finally got his answer while she's been in Jamaica for the last day and a half at this point. So because he's agreeing to come, Angel's looking confused about what's up. Did you not want to come? I've already asked you if you can come. Now you give me the answer that you want to come. Like, what are we? Now she is going to let Eugene and Toya know that he is coming, but he is going to get his own room. I feel like once she said he's going to get his own room, Bernard felt like there's no need to come, but he still came because he wants to be on this show. And I don't know, Angel, I feel like you're giving him mixed signals about what it is you guys are, because you want from him to showcase that he wants to be with you, make his stand and claim you. But you got to tell him what you want. And I feel like you're not doing that, because why is he coming on this trip? Why is somebody who isn't your man on a couple's trip? That doesn't make any sense, okay? Now, I feel like all this energy you're giving to Toya about her breaking girl code, okay, yeah, Toya was wrong, but look at the games you're playing. This man is not even saying he's your man. You can't even say that he's your man. So you should be accepting any kind of help that you've asked to find somebody. Go ahead, date other people. You're not together. You're not in a relationship. So you should be dating whoever you want to date until Bernard steps up and claims you as his girl. Like, okay, fine. Like, I got so confused at Angel and Bernard. I was like, fine, whatever. So then Toya and Eugene, they're getting ready. They want to come up with a game. She wants to be aware that while I come up with this game, do not give me no pushback, which means be on my side, introduce the game, be a team participant. Don't make me look stupid. And then they're going to talk about the Met Gala. Now, Toya tells Eugene, do not let Heavenly get under his skin. He said, oh no, she's not getting under my skin. I just don't like it when people lie and talk about my wife. I just don't agree with that. Now, yes, we are still going on about how Toya has not contributed in the last couple of years of the Met Gala. It's only been 2 of them. Now, the first one, she did not contribute anything. The second one, she contributed a case of wine. Now, I am sick and tired of y'all keep on mentioning how Toya didn't do shit for the last year's Met Gala. Okay, move on. We're now doing a New Year's Met Gala. Like, it's bullshit. I just don't have time for this type of like constant poking and constantly pointing the finger and pointing the blame on Toya. I really don't like that. And Eugene is all about, if we are going to have a civil conversation that's going to deal with finances, I don't want to hear that's bullshit, that's bullshit, that's bullshit. Because to me, that's your mama to me. And I don't have time for that. Why can't we have a civil conversation without you cussing if things don't go your way? And I have to agree. Heavenly can't have a simple conversation with somebody without cussing and coming at that person. Like, girl, I don't want to talk to you. Now, both Toya and Eugene were in their confessional discussing that Heavenly did apologize, but Eugene can't trust her apologies. And Toya doesn't trust it either. But this is what Heavenly wants. Heavenly wants you to react so that way she can get the upper hand and be more disrespectful. Do not fall for it. Let Heavenly look dumb for doing too much. So they make it to dinner and they're sitting at their assigned seats, and they notice that Shamar is not there. Brandy tells them that they had a change in childcare, so he stayed and watched their 4 children, but he will be here tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. Now, Brandy is feeling like where she fits in with this group is not really being understood because she has 4 small children. I don't see how it's not understood, because everybody understands what it's like to have small children and that you're not automatically able to just get up and go. You know what I'm saying? And she's not the only one in this group that has small children. Mimi has small children under 10. Angel has a preteen and a 5-year-old. Toya and Eugene, they have teenagers. Simone and Cecil, their kids are grown. Heavenly's kids are grown. I think Contessa still has a child that's still in middle school. So I need to understand, and I need to know who has made Brandy feel like she's not showing up because she can't have nobody to watch her children. She just said she has a nanny, and her nanny has a life, which means that her nanny can only work a certain amount of hours, and we cannot just dump our kids on her because we want to have time to hang out with other adults and get away from our kids. Like, no. And I'm in the same boat as Brandy. I have two children, and me and my husband do have a village that can watch our children if we want to have a vacation together or a date night or something. But we cannot expect it to always happen. Our people, our village who already have a life, that had a life before we had children, they still have their lives. So we cannot assume they can drop everything just to watch our children. So I don't like that. That's not fair to make Brandy feel like she's not being not welcome, but that she is the only one that has a lot to deal with trying to figure out who's going to watch her kids. Like, y'all have not done that before. Like, yeah, let's not do that. So then Toya came up with an icebreaker question. We're talking about our love languages. And throughout the day, has any of your partners have showcased your love language? And can you talk about them? Toya and Eugene went first. They're talking about how her love language is acts of service, and Eugene's love language is words of affirmation. Now, of course, they make fun of Eugene and Toya of the way she talks about him and everything, but the joke was on them because when Simone and Cecil talked about their love language, Cecil didn't even know what Simone's love language was. After 29 years, you don't know your partner's love language? That's something. Okay? And you talked about how the 5 acts of love language is the gospel, is the Bible, but you're not using it. Make that make sense. So Cecil didn't show any of your love languages today. She said that he had her food delivered and he told her that her food came and she should come and eat it. After all this shit she put up with you and your children, Cecil? Really? No. Bye, Cecil. And it goes to show you, even if you've been married for 30 years, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, you should still reconnect with your partner to learn about their love languages. That should be something you should know automatically and learn how to be well adapted in it, where it shouldn't be a question that you have a hard time answering. So then we see Quad and King. Her 2 love languages are affirmation and acts of service. She wants to hear she's doing a good job. She wants to hear she's amazing, she's beautiful, she's special. For him, it's quality time and acts of service. What I didn't appreciate is him making it seem as if she had a hard love language to live up to. You know what I'm saying? Like he said, it's a one in the possible. Like, King is over it, and I'm over it, and I'm very happy they're not together anymore. Even Contessa can see that they're not how they used to be. The love is not really there anymore. It's fizzled out. Yeah, because all that energy went out the window going through this IVF journey, and that King has been complaining about the process as if he didn't know that he was on board. And we see Quad literally trying to convince herself to stay in this relationship with a man that doesn't want kids with her. So we didn't get much from Heavenly and Damon. She just wanted to talk about how he made Whoopi with her. She's so proud of that. I don't think that Heavenly and Damon have the amount of sex that she claims they have. Jackie and Curtis, please. Curtis said that his love language is physical touch. She ain't touched this man. Okay, she said that she's in a pile of debt because she don't touch him. That's why he's always gone at golf tournaments. Okay, like, get the fuck out of here. So then the iceberg question went on. They get a good moment. They loved it. Now we get some food. Toya's want to make sure everybody's good with their accommodations. And then she asks Mimi, is she good? So then she confronts Mimi about how you were unsure about coming on this trip because you said you didn't feel safe. Now Mimi wants to clear up and say, well, I did say those words, but I didn't say it in that way. I asked Simone, is Toya safe? What I meant to say is Toya a safe friend? That's what I meant. Simone was like, well, first of all, I told her exactly what you said. You said you weren't comfortable with coming on this trip and that you weren't sure if she was going to be a good host for this trip because you have not had good interactions with her. That's exactly what you meant. And Simone was in her confessional with saying, listen, Mimi, you've been a part of this group for a while. If you're going to say something, stand on it when it gets confronted to you, okay? Stand on it when it gets repeated back to you. And Mimi, that's exactly what you said. Now, Mimi, she had the floor, but then she was trying to come up with some type of reverse psychology to not admit that that's exactly what she said, because that was your reason as to why you didn't want to come on this trip. You said in your confessional, Toya and Eugene aren't giving model couple. It's giving chaos. Girl, Not every couple has perfect moments. Not every couple is going to be the picture perfect image of, oh, I strive to be in this marriage. Like, girl, to stone Eugene and Toya for having a marital spat in their home to act like they don't have a good relationship is crazy as hell to me. I don't like that. Because not every couple is going to be all smiling and happy all the time. Keep in mind, they could be very much happy, but something that you did earlier pissed me off, and I don't really want to be around you right now. But I do love you. Like, get the fuck out of here with that shit, Mimi. So now Mimi wants to use an example of how Toya has not shown up to be a safe friend when she used how Toya and Heavenly were going back and forth with each other on the girls trip. And when Heavenly was discussing how she feels about Simone, Toya chimed in, and then she projected onto Mimi, and it was da-da-da-da. I was like, Mimi, if you're going to tell the story, please tell it all. When it came down to giving Heavenly the floor to lie about Simone's behavior, Toya was there asking the right questions, watching you jump in and correct Toya and tell her, didn't I ask you not to interject? Because she wasn't about to allow Heavenly to lie on her friend like y'all were. And then when it came down to Heavenly addressing how she feels about Simone at that pool, she kept bringing up Toya. So Toya thought, okay, so since you're bringing me up, let me confront you about what you've been doing to me. You got into it, and you wanted to dismiss Toya's feelings, and you got in that pool to try to clear it up, to try to make it all right. She said, get away from me. You want to say I'm unhinged. You're going to say I'm all this. I ain't got time for you. I'm going to send you on your way. So Mimi, that example really didn't make any sense. If you wanted to use an example about how you haven't felt like you and Toya were meshing, you could have used the time that she kicked you out of her house. That would have been an understanding. That would have been a resolve, but you chose to use Heavenly. No, that's some bullshit right there. Like, and then I appreciate Eugene for saying this. If you're having to question whether or not somebody is a safe friend, how about you get to know that person instead of asking somebody else? And why would you even ask Simone? Why would Simone tell you a lie that she doesn't think Toya is a safe friend when she's known Toya? She's known Toya since season 1. They've had over a 12-year friendship. Times when they weren't on the good page, and the rest of the time they have gotten closer. So she was the wrong person to ask, and that was another indicator for me. You're trying to get everybody on your side to isolate Toya, to treat Toya like she's not a good person, when Toya is no different than Heavenly. That's the whole crazy thing about it. You putting Heavenly so high on a pedestal, thinking that she's a good friend, versus Toya, who you haven't really gotten to know. So because you're assuming about how a person has been without getting to know that person, that's not good. So Eugene offers that they hang out more often. We'll invite you over to our house so you can learn and understand. Stevie said we'll do that. Mimi says she's hopeful. She thinks that her and Toya can have a good friendship. We haven't caught our flow. No, you haven't. Y'all are two ships passing, like I've said before. You just been too busy judging her. You've been too busy criticizing her, trying to make everybody think that she is the main problem when she's not. You're not using the same neutral bias on everybody, learning that everybody got flaws, everybody got to be accountable for something, but you're only looking at Toya to be accountable. You're not looking at everybody else. We already heard you make excuses for Heavenly. So, okay. That's it. That's all. Anyway, then Toya decides to create a game where they play green flag, red flag. Okay, green flag if you're against it. No. Green flag if you are with it. Red flag if you don't like it. So, the first question was, do you think giving the silent treatment is progressive in a relationship? Most of the people said no. Heavenly was green. But this is my thing. When it comes to silent treatments, I really don't like silent treatments. I get antsy because I want to talk about it, right? I want to get to the bottom of how you feel because I hate that space of nothingness. It really bothers me, right? But if you are the type of person that knows you're going to say something venomous after an argument, you might need to take a time out. You might need to count to 10. And if you are the type of person who wants to communicate, even if you are in an irritated space, then we should know what words not to say to one another. It's 2 and 2. I can take a minute to calm and reflect, but I'm not going to take no more than a couple of minutes. Same with my partner. Same with my husband. I'm not gonna take no more than a couple of minutes to kind of like reassess, relook, rethink. But if you're that type of person who is so quick to be defensive, so quick to spew out venomous words against your spouse, then yes, take a time out, take a 10-second mantra to calm yourself down. But if you are the type of person who wants to communicate how you're feeling, and while being irritated, you can verbally say, this is how I'm feeling. And I wish that we would not have done that. So I understand I was right, you was wrong, you was right, I was wrong. I can understand both parts. That's how it should go, in my opinion. So Contessa says somebody made a joke about wanting to use a hall pass on a vacation. Who used that as a joke? I think that's a very telling joke. If somebody is offering to use a hall pass on vacation, listen, if you're that type of couple that pretty much gets buck wild on vacations, you are in a space and you're in a place where nobody knows you, go ahead, have a good time. But if you're using a vacation to cheat on your spouse, that is a red flag. Then Toya says people use their boundaries as an excuse to not grow. So then Toya said that people use their boundaries as an excuse to grow. What does that mean? Does that mean that if you're using your personality being that's what it is, get with it or get lost? Is that where that's a red flag? So people need an understanding. So Toya had the idea of bringing up something, but she was like, nope, don't say it. I wasn't going to say it. I wasn't going to do it. But she's like, fuck it, I'll say it. It was the experience that I had between me and Angel. Excuse me. So then we get to Angel telling the story about how Bernard was invited to the family reunion. They all met Bernard. Toya met him. And then Toya started going off about how Angel wanted her to hook her up with somebody and was asking all kind of evasive questions. Everybody was like, Toya, you shouldn't have did that. Toya, you were wrong. Even Eugene said she was wrong, okay? The concept of girl code, right? But then she used it to say that I applied that when I was in my 20s and my 30s. Now that I'm an adult, I don't play these types of games. You dealing with a man you've been messing around with for years, but you're asking me to hook you up. I don't have time to be lying for you. As much as that's a understanding perspective, but I really do wish that Toy could have just been like, well, I was excited when you asked me, do I know somebody? And I was going to introduce you to my husband's best friend. That's like family to me. I thought that would have been a great time for us to bond, get to know, do some double dates. That should have been something that Toy should have said so we can understand her plight better instead of her avoiding accountability and just saying that she was wrong, okay? But then we got Angel, who is still mad and angry with the way that Bernard felt with how he got embarrassed that Angel was still thinking of looking at somebody, thinking of seeing somebody. But that's not Toya's problem, Angel. And that's not even Toya's responsibility to apologize to Bernard. I don't give a damn if Bernard was embarrassed. He should be embarrassed because he got a fine thing like you on his arm and he not even claiming it. He's not even treasuring it. You are a free agent to do what you want to do, but you want her to be apologetic for Bernard's feelings? No. There's no point of being apologetic to Bernard. There's no point. And I feel like you should be thankful that she wanted to find you somebody because what you're doing with Bernard don't make no damn sense. He's corny. He's weird. And I don't know what you see in him. I really don't. Then Angel felt the need to step up and say, listen, I am the baddest bitch. Okay? You know, I have been engaged several times. I have been married. I don't need Toya's help to be hooked up with nobody. I don't have a problem getting a man at all. Toya was like, nope, you sure don't. And I won't ever ask you again. Angel was like, I appreciate you. And then Toya was like, next. Because I see both sides, but I'm kind of weighing more on Toya's side because the way that Toya went about it was wrong, but her explanation was like, well, she's seeing the kiddish things you're doing. You're being childish right now, Angel. You invited somebody that's not really your man on this couples trip. He acted like he didn't want to come. And since you're not getting what you want, you're mad at Toya when you've already been playing cat and mouse game with him all this time. But anyway, so while, watching Toya pretty much have a bullshit way of avoiding accountability, Heavenly chimed in and said, this girl is so full of shit. She playing with you. Don't let her play her. She is so full of shit. In what world is that good girlfriend behavior? I don't know, Heavenly. In what world is it good girlfriend behavior to assume that your good friend is messing around with a married man? Because that's the shit you've been saying for a while. What type of good girlfriend is that? Now, this is the difference. Toya and Angel, they're not good girlfriends. They are figuring out how to be friends. They're learning things about one another. But you have been very good friends with Qual for quite some time. And you have been talking about your friend like she's a hoe out here. Remember that? So as much as you laughing at Toya not being a good girlfriend, you really don't have no room to laugh either. You have no room to talk. You have no room to judge. You have no room to criticize because you're not so much of a good friend as you think Toya is. So moving on from there. So they had to cut the game. The game wasn't working. Eugene said the game is done. Now then Jackie wants everyone to talk about the Met Gala. She is spiraling because she's claiming that nothing has been done, nothing has been prepared for the upcoming Met Gala. She is claiming no venue has been secured. There's no food, there's no agenda. So now we need everyone else's money. I'm confused, Jackie. What were those scenes you had with Toya where you guys were talking about the website, the idea of making it to a foundation, Toya's idea of getting big corporations to send y'all money? That wasn't the case. That's not happening. That's not helping pay for the event. I'm confused. Heavenly is still going on about how Toya did not contribute last year's Met Gala or the year before. Oh my God, Heavenly, get the fuck over it. Having Toya's money was not the end-all factor of you guys having a great Met Gala. Y'all still had great events of the Met Gala. But last year, y'all blamed Phaedra, that Phaedra made promises that she couldn't keep and that she didn't have the money that you claimed she didn't have. Turns out she had the money. She showed the receipt. Like, what is this? Y'all are always looking for somebody to blame when you guys could just do what you need to do. Heavenly is so angry at Toya. She just thinks the worst of her and is getting on my fucking nerves. Brandy says it sounds like an important cause, but we haven't even been asked our opinions. You know, we're new. We're coming into the situation. But I haven't heard anything about why this is an important cause. All I'm hearing is you want my money. So I'm not going to give you my money because you haven't even invited me in to welcome me in to be a part of this event. So bullshit. And aren't y'all on some type of group chat? Y'all wasn't having conversations at all? Really? Here go Mimi wanting to be included because the gag is I'm not new. Well, we don't care, Mimi. So Toya stood up and said, when you got 9 people in the group, it's hard to please everybody. But Heavenly just still got to say something, saying that the last person shouldn't be talking and the person that shouldn't have shit to say is Toya. I don't want to hear nothing from you. You ain't putting in on nothing. You ain't did no splitting. You ain't did nothing. I don't want to hear shit what you got to say. Shut the fuck up, Heavenly. You're not making it any better. How are we going to have a conversation to discuss whether or not Toya lived up to the expectation of doing anything for the Met Gala if you keep on chiming in and interrupting her? Shut up. So once Heavenly was talking, Toya said, Heavenly, shut the fuck up. And I was glad that she said it. Like, girl, hush. Hush. Toya said, I'm really trying not to be disrespectful. I'm really trying. And she just keeps on saying, you so full of shit. You so full of shit. Nobody wants to hear you so full of shit. I wouldn't have no, I can't do that. I can't. I would have been whooping your ass at that point, dragging you across the damn sand for you to be coming at me that way. I'm a grown ass woman, okay? I am not a child. I am not an object you can beat on. I'm a grown ass woman. You don't talk to me that way, okay? So then Eugene said, okay, we need a timeout. Nope, timeout. I'm sick of it. Me and you, we're taking a timeout. Let's go to our room because I would like for us to leave, okay? Because if they're not going to respect you and listen to you, then you ain't got time for this shit, okay? Toya wants to stay and have the conversation and says the only person who's being disruptive is Heavenly. But everybody is pretty much agreeing with Heavenly. Now, Brandy ain't fooling with this shit. Simone not feeling this shit. Quad did say something later, but everybody else is in solidarity of Heavenly coming at you. And I wish Toya wouldn't have fought to stay. I wish she would have left because it wouldn't have made Heavenly the bad guy even more. Because we didn't even hear what Toya had to say because Heavenly was too busy cussing and fussing at her. So he said, listen, what they're doing to you is wrong, okay? They're disrespecting you and they're not listening to you. And I don't like that, okay? You have done good work and I appreciate you. Hearing that affirmation from her husband, Toya felt like, okay, maybe I need to stay. But him letting her know, I don't want to hear this shit no more, okay? They're not going to be adults, so I'm going to walk away. And this ain't going to work for me. I'm going to be very disrespectful to a group of women and it's not going to be good on me. So Then Toya said, whoever decides to lead the Met Gala next year, I will support you. I will not behave the way these people behave today because nobody's acting like adults here, especially Heavenly, right? So Eugene is talking to Kirk, and he said, I have been in the medical leadership for about 20 years. I have never been in a meeting where somebody has something like this to say. This is just straight bullshit. I don't know who you're talking to because you're not talking to me. You being a prestigious doctor, take your ass outside. Your decorum is not welcome here. And he knows that this is what was going to happen. Nobody can have a mature conversation if somebody's coming with, this is just bullshit, you full of shit, you're dumb, you're stupid. I don't have time to listen to people like that. I will leave you where you're at, okay? And y'all not giving Toya the respect that she deserves. You're all coming at her. You guys are all blaming her for what hasn't been done to have the Met Gala be prepared. But weren't y'all in solidarity of not helping her? Y'all got a problem with her telling you we need to all come together, but because she didn't contribute to last year's Met Gala, you feel like, why should we help you? But now, how it's going to make y'all look that y'all chose to put all of this responsibility on her for her to be at fault, it's really not going to make her look bad. It's going to make y'all look bad because this is about the doctors. Majority of the people in this group are all doctors. Quad and Toya are not doctors, okay? There are just regular women, educated women. You guys are the one that has the most to lose than them. But to use this moment to teach a lesson to Toya was not really necessary. It made y'all look like fools. And y'all don't want to look like fools, right? So Heavenly is in the background wondering, where's the venue? What time is the venue? What we gonna wear? Because it ain't done. Nothing's gotten done. She's just stupid. She's just stupid. And then it's all about how they didn't want to trust Toya. They don't trust Toya with the money. Make it make sense. How y'all gonna try to carry a narrative that she might be a thief with the money? Like Toya is someone that you don't trust with money. Where did that come from? So while watching Heavenly get at Toya, you can see Jackie standing up and smiling at her because she's enjoying watching Heavenly come at Toya. Because this is how Jackie feels. This is what Jackie wanted. Jackie wanted this to be a huge lesson for Toya to understand and get, but it's not really working, Jackie, because she's a co-chair. You're the main one who spearheaded the idea of having a Met Gala. This is your idea, your baby, like I said before. Why would you not take over the responsibility that you've already been doing before to make sure the event went well? Pick up the slack you say that Toya is doing and do your job. Like, did you really negate your entire responsibility to teach Toya a lesson? You did all of that? That don't make you look good in no eyes, Jackie. You look like a child trying to teach people lessons like they need to be taught lessons because nobody is where you think they are. Nobody is reaching a level you want them to be. So you talk down to them. You act like they don't know what they're doing. I don't have time for this shit. And Heavenly, she's just still going at her by how you know how to run a business. You're not smart. You're not this. You're not that. I commend Toya for not spazzing out on Heavenly because she would have gotten her ass handed to her at that point. You're not finna come at me that way. But again, I still haven't seen any proof that Toya hasn't been showing up the way that you claim she hasn't to have this be a great event. It's just ridiculous, and that wasn't nice to see. I wasn't here for that at all. And it was just a very bullying moment that Heavenly did way too much, and nobody's going to hold her accountable for it. So moving on, it's the next morning. Brandy's husband, Shamar, he finally made it, but his flight was delayed, so he's only going to be there for a couple of hours. But, you know, they have to leave early to be there for their kids' first day of school, which I commend them for. And Brandy was just telling her husband that she feels like everybody forgot what it's like to have small children and that you're not able to do everything, you're not able to be present, to be hanging out with everybody. So then Toya and Eugene are in their room, and they're just discussing what happened last night and how they really want to have a nice trip. And then we talk about Heavenly, how Heavenly just does too much disrespectful things. She acts so childish. And Eugene don't like no type of disrespect towards Toya, man or woman. He don't like it at all, okay? And he felt like if he would have went there with Heavenly, it would have went left. So he figured, let me walk away. Let me have a timeout. So then we are in Damon and Heavenly's room. They're in La La Land, okay? She's like, you know what, Daddy? That's the thing about Eugene. Like, I don't be liking when he be in women's business. Like, he know this is the way we talk. He know this is how we get down. He know that, right? I mean, Daddy, that's right, right? should just allow for me to just disrespect his wife, right? He should allow for me to talk about her like she's stupid, right? That's good, right? Damon, a man of a few words, he's like, I mean, listen, I would have only stepped in if a man disrespects you. That's when I feel like a man should step in. If a man disrespects his wife, I don't think it's wrong for you being my wife to disrespect another woman, and I don't think it's a problem if you talk about another man's penis. I don't think it is. But listen, I don't feel the way that he stood up for his wife. I would have stood by you even when you're wrong. I know, Teddy, I know, but they just don't get it. They just don't get it, Teddy. I want both of them to get out of my fucking face. Because, Damon, you are the reason why Heavenly gets away with the things she gets away with, because you don't want to deal with her. You don't want to address when she's in the wrong. And she has been in the wrong plenty of times. Right? In this case, she was dead wrong with the way she came at Toya. She shouldn't have come at her that way. And for you to say you would not jump in because a woman is disrespecting another man's wife, if a man jumped in, that's when you would have jumped in, okay, that's some bullshit. I feel like disrespect, no matter if it came from a man or a woman. And if he was there watching them disrespect his wife, he had a right to say something. So Eugene and Damon and Heavenly, they're pretty much going off on the rhetoric. This is a part of the show. The women are going to have back and forth. The women are going to have arguments. Yeah, that is true. But there is going to be a time where somebody's going to have to step up and say, hey, enough. Move on. Okay? So Eugene was like, listen, I need to talk to Damon. I need to let him know. Okay, I wasn't going to disrespect your wife, but I didn't like the way your wife disrespected mine. Okay, and yes, seeing that our wives go back and forth all the time, it shouldn't bother me, but it did bother me, which is why I had to walk off. And the way that she came with my wife on the bus, I didn't like that either. So I can only tolerate so much. And my limit has gotten too high, and I really don't have time for that. So he's pretty much, remembering the Damon he used to know all those years ago that wouldn't have tolerated this. He's all about my family, but your family has disrespected my wife way too many times, and I have something to say, and I'm coming to you man to man to talk about it. Because now you're agreeing with every single thing your wife does, and I know you wouldn't like it if the roles were reversed on you. If nobody checked Toya with the way that she came in Heavenly, we would have been in the comments talking about why don't Toya get checked by Eugene? Why isn't Toya being fussed at by Eugene? When we don't even see that with Damon. Damon don't do shit but enable Heavenly's behavior. Y'all give Heavenly too many passes to be disrespectful and not say nothing. So moving on from there, we got Angel's man friend Bernard. Okay, he finally arrives. She gives us the timeline of their relationship, that they dated back in 2016. They had fun. They were having a good time, but she would see things that she really wasn't cool with. He will be playing games. He wasn't really being serious. But that was 9 years ago. She has had a whole lot of other relationships. She has had 2 children in that time. So now she wants to fall back and see if her and him can have another chance. But given the history that you had with him, you couldn't trust him in a relationship. What makes you think you can open that door again? What makes you think things are different this time? Are you different? Is he different? Let me know. So then he is acting like he wasn't aware that this was a couple's trip, even though she told him it was a couple's trip. But then she said she's not going to let the other girls know that he's here because she doesn't want to make it a big deal. You brought a guy they don't really know on this trip. It's going to be a big deal, Angel. All right? So then, she just peeping his energy. He's not acting happy and excited that, he's there with her. And I feel like it's vice versa. You're not showcasing how happy you are with him being here. And I think that's what Bernard was expecting. He was expecting for you to be all up over him, super happy, super joyful that he's here. But I think that's where you guys are not meeting each other. Both of y'all are having expectations about what it is y'all want from one another, and you guys are not explaining that. You guys are not showcasing that. I think that Bernard is still feeling salty that you asked Toya to hook you up with somebody. So he didn't even think that he would be a contender to come on this trip. He figured you probably would have invited somebody else. And my second choice, was I really the main choice you wanted on this trip? So either way, there's weirdness between them, because I feel like, are y'all a couple or y'all not a couple? Bernard looked like he didn't want to be there, but he expected a whole lot from Angel. Angel expected a whole lot from him. I don't have time. I just don't. Both of y'all are weird. Get out of my face. So then the ladies are going out to the river raft to get some spa treatments. The men are going out on their own private beach. When they get to the Sprinter van, they get a knock on the door. It's Bernard. Bernard's like, yeah, I got room for one more. Everybody was shocked and surprised. Nobody knew he was coming except for Eugene and Toya. Cecil was like, who is he here for? Kirk and Qua were like, he was invited? Like, nobody remembers him. Nobody knows him, even if he is a doctor. Nobody cares. We only saw you one time. You were not that memorable, okay? Then he kind of had an attitude about where they were going. Like, he was expected to be in the loop with everything. Nobody laid the red carpet out for you. We don't know you. Like, what the fuck? So, Eugene also wants to talk to Damon about what happened last night with his wife, and Damon's like, I don't want no drama, man. I want to be drama free. Too late. Do you know who you're married to, Damon? She's all about drama, okay? But he wants to have a conversation. He's talking to you about it, so you need to be man enough and have the conversation, okay? So when they get to their locations, they have to send off Shamar and Brandy because they have to catch a flight. So they gave a shot to Shamar, congratulating him on being a great father, a stand-up dad. They do a shot to Brandy for coming on this trip, having a good time. So off they go so they can head back to Atlanta to send their kids off to school. Yay, happy for them. Those are good parents. So when they get to the river raft, the ladies were not feeling the murky, muddy water. They thought it wasn't luxury of them because they are looking at how materialistic Toya is, and was like, well, Toya, did you not read all the details? Mimi, oh, this is very odd of you, Toya. Did you not plan well, boo? Shut up, Mimi. Okay, like, it's not even that deep for y'all to act so high and mighty over a river raft excursion. I hear that it is the most thing you're supposed to do when you're in Jamaica and you're in the rainforest. It's natural waters. Sometimes it could be healing waters. Like, y'all cannot be this bad and bougie where y'all ought to be too trust and believe. I don't do dirty water either, but I'm not gonna turn my nose up to have a river raft experience in Jamaica, okay? So while the men are at their private beach, so Steve decides to be funny and make a joke of Eugene walking off. You know, put a little extra on it, make his hips switch very hard like a dramatic scene of a sitcom show. And I didn't find it funny. Even though Steve said he wanted to lighten the mood, no, you wanted to take a jab at Eugene because Mimi has taken plenty of jabs at Toya. That wasn't necessary. So now you're making a jab at Eugene because you're on the same level as your wife. What your wife do, you do. After you guys got invited to get to know them better, understand how they operate, to learn more about them, and yet you guys still use every opportunity you can to come at them, to bag on them. Got it. So Eugene opened up the conversation that since day one of being on this trip, my wife has gotten disrespected over and over again. That is correct. So we need to address what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. Do I have any comments in the peanut gallery? Crickets. Damon is bullshitting. He's using the rhetoric. You know, man, we got strong wives, man. And, you know, they can hold their own. We don't got to be in that mess. We don't got to be in that drama. Eugene was like, time out on that. Aware of the fact we got strong wives, I just need to understand there is going to be a time where it's going to be too much. And that was too much, okay? Because I gotta say that because this is what was said. We wanted Toya to be in charge because we wanted to see it fail. Who said that? Instead of Damon standing on the fact that his wife said it, he said, all this finger pointing is a waste of time, man. We should just come together, do the event, and let it be a good time. That's all we gotta do. Damon, you are just avoiding the entire conversation to admit that your wife was wrong for coming at Toya that way and for using an important event like the Met Gala to teach her a lesson. Knowing that that's fucking wrong. Now, Eugene was like, I know he would not like if this was done to him. And we know that Damon wouldn't like if it was done to him. So Eugene said, listen, I'm not going to mention nobody's names, but that is what was said. Now, it was wrong. Period, point blank. Damon is only happy that Eugene didn't mention his wife's name because he knows his wife has been in the mix of making this a very hard event for Toya and has been making it hard for Toya to pretty much do anything right. But that was pretty much in the episode, and I think that is capped though. Because Damon, when you got confronted by Dr. Greg about what your wife said, you said, "Why are you so sensitive? Why is that bothering you?" Because it was about him. It was his reputation that could have been tarnished by what Heavenly said. She called him a pedo. Her arguing with Sweet Tea shouldn't have been just her arguing with Sweet Tea. She should not have mentioned Greg at all. And that is Heavenly's go-to. Whenever she's arguing with a woman, she brings up the husband. She has continuously does it when it comes to Toya. Every time she's arguing with Toya, she brings up Eugene's penis. That's disrespectful. That's crossing boundaries. But you're not checking her on that, because how are you okay with your wife always commenting on another man's penis? That's the issue. She wouldn't like it somebody else commenting on your penis. Obviously, because we can't discuss what Heavenly got going on. We can't discuss what y'all got going on. But y'all can throw stones and be judgmental to other people's situations. That's not fair. And then the beginning of the season, y'all wanted to hold Toya and Eugene accountable for what she said about Curtis. But she wasn't lying and she wasn't wrong. Y'all wanted to turn Eugene against his own wife and say she was wrong, she shouldn't have did it. How come that applies to Toya and Eugene but doesn't apply for Damon and Heavenly? He enables her behavior just as much as Eugene enables Toya. But we see Eugene tell Toya that she's wrong. We don't see Damon tell Heavenly that she's wrong. He just turns around, drinks his drink, and don't say shit. And that's a problem for me. So when you have Eugene being a man telling you, we need to discuss this, I have a problem with this, you should know that your wife has been a problem. You should know your wife does and says too much. You should know that, Damon. But you don't want to deal with it. And that's an issue. But we know it's going to be a continuation with that the next episode. But I mean, that's all I have. Please stay tuned for the next video. I'm going to see you guys later. Bye.